Hi, my name is Sarah Smith. I'm a horticulturist here at Rogers Gardens, and I want to talk about gardening and vegetable gardening specifically in the summertime. So this is when we're really starting to kind of swelter up here. It's July right now, and I'm constantly getting asked by people, can I still plant tomatoes? Can I still plant peppers? And the simple answer is yes. There are some tricks to doing that, and just general things you need to do in your garden right now. This is the time of year when everything's kind of big and crazy and out of control. It depends on where you live, on what your garden is doing at the moment. I am pretty coastal and I live in a really big pocket of a marine layer, so I am constantly battling fungus and powdery mildew, and my tomatoes usually are starting to look a little scraggly at this time of year, but I usually harvest later, so if you're more inland, you're not really dealing with those problems, so count yourself a little lucky on that one. But you can still plant your tomatoes right now. You can still plant peppers and eggplants and things like that, so I'm just gonna go over all the tips and tricks that I have for July and August. So the one thing that you really want to do, first thing I want to talk about is tomatoes. That's the question I get asked about the most at this time of month. If you haven't planted tomatoes, you can still plant tomatoes. We are just edging into the very end of when you can plant your tomatoes. Here in July, we can go all the way towards the end of July. You can even tilt into August if you're getting cool season type tomatoes. The cool season type tomatoes don't need so much heat to set fruit. They usually have very cool sounding names like subarctic, Oregon Springs, Sub-Zero. You can tell just by those names that those are great for cool season. You can still get away with doing your traditional type tomatoes right now all the way till the end of July. The ones that I really like, I want to look for a larger tomato and not go for something too small. I look for something that has some set flowers going on it, so I know that I'm going to get tomatoes on that. If you have tomatoes that are already kind of petering out at this time of year, or just weren't really great producers, or maybe you just simply don't like the taste, why waste your time keeping that one in the ground? You can just pull that guy out and put a new one in. Make sure that you're still caging your tomatoes at this time of year. Tomatoes get really tall. Unless it's a specific dwarf type, they can get taller than me. So investing in a good cage, I tell everybody, invest in a good cage. It's just so much easier. I love the collapsible cages. They're much better than the small little cone type cages. They're a little wonky and they tend to fall over, and then storing them is a whole big problem. So investing in a really nice collapsible cage, you'll use this for years to come. We sell all different kinds of collapsible cages here, so it's a really great investment. Make sure that you're paying attention to the tomatoes that you are keeping. Tie those guys up, because I'm sure they're getting branches that are falling all over the place, and it's really kind of sad when you go out to pick tomatoes and your branch has broke, and now your tomatoes that are on there that are still green are never going to ripen. So I love using these soft tie wires. They work so much better and so much easier than any of the other kind of string or even just regular wire that has kind of exposed edges or sharp edges. You don't run the risk of cutting into your tomato branch. So tying up your tomatoes at this time for the things you have is really important. Caging for the new ones that you plant in advance is very important. It just saves a lot of heartache down the road. Make sure too, with your tomatoes and anything else, that you're still fertilizing. They are still growing. They still need all that nutrients. So make sure that you're using a good fertilizer. I love our Down to Earth All Purpose. I use this one once a month. About 1/4 a cup to 1/2 a cup for my tomato plants, my pepper plants, my zucchinis and things like that. It's nice, it's a granular, you just put it down on the ground, you just water it right in. We also carry a specific Malibu Compost Tea special for vegetable gardens and for tomatoes. This is a really great product to add in between your fertilizing. I find too that people who battle a lot of mildew, blight problems and things like that, this works very well with keeping those kind of things at bay. So this really adds a lot of great mycorrhizae and beneficial nematodes and things, and promotes all of that in the garden. So it really helps your plant be stronger and more protected for those kind of things. If you are really dealing with bad powdery mildew and it's just not going away, the couple of tricks that I have for that is first, going through, taking all the really affected leaves off. You'll see that you'll have little white spots on it. You'll maybe see some on your stems. Your leaves start to kind of turn yellow and get brown and crunchy. Pull all those leaves off, put them right away into some kind of container. Don't drop them on the ground. And then after you're done pulling all the leaves off, spray with something that has sulfur in it. This is a really great product. We have it in a couple of different forms. This one specifically says tomato and vegetable, but what you're really looking for, your key ingredient in there, is sulfur. Copper works as well. Copper can have a tendency to stain, so if you have it near something where next to a sidewalk or something like that, just be careful. I really like the sulfur product. I really particularly like this 3-in-1 product because this also has insecticidal soap in there. So if you have any problems with aphids or whitefly or mealybugs, this works as well. So this is a really great one to have all the time because it works just about on anything. The other problem that we tend to have, and really we're getting into the height of it at this moment, is caterpillar issues. So you get a lot of hornworm caterpillars, you get a lot of those little loopers that look like little inchworms basically. They don't turn into anything pretty, so you really want to make sure that you're getting rid of those so they don't get into your tomatoes. So the worst thing is when you cut into a nice ripe pepper or tomato and there's a worm in it. So this is the product that you want to use. This is BT spray. This works specifically on caterpillars. So you don't need to worry about those caterpillars turning into anything cute. They're just going to be moths. You can hand pick any of the ones that you see. Usually they're more active at nighttime. Sometimes they're very hard to see because they're exactly the same color of the leaves that they're eating. So this spray really helps out with that. Both of these things you want to use every 7 to 10 days or so once you're starting to notice that you have a problem, and then you want to repeat that about 3 times. It's not going to get everything the first time, so you need to make sure that you repeat that. That's very important. At least 3, maybe even 4 times to make sure you completely get rid of the problem and you don't have a new outbreak all over again. It's like I've been saying, it's a totally fine time to put peppers in the ground. Also a really great time to put eggplant in. I really particularly like this variety of eggplant, but we have tons of different varieties here. But this is the Fairytale Eggplant. So this is a nice, small, compact eggplant. Makes smaller little eggplants, which is really cute. They're stripy and white and absolutely adorable. So it's a really nice one to put into a garden, especially if your garden's really big and full already, but you find you have a little bit of space here and there. These little compact eggplants are perfect. And then if you want to do pumpkins or any kind of gourds in time for Halloween, this is the very last time we can get them in the ground. So this here is a honey nut butter squash, but pumpkins, gourds, all those things, you can't start them from seed at this point. It's a little too late for that. So all the way up to the end of July, you can get your starts for those kind of things in the ground now, and you will still get pumpkins or gourds in time for Halloween. The other really nice thing is getting strawberries in the ground. You may not get a lot of flowers and a lot of strawberries, but you can still get them in the ground right now for next year. The more established your strawberry is, the better and better it gets. We also have really fun different varieties. Alpine strawberries are really great. I love these. They're so cute. They're so small and petite. They don't produce a runner like a regular strawberry. And the nice thing about these is they're really good for borders. So I border all my vegetable gardens with Alpine strawberries. This is a yellow wonder. I love the yellow ones. I think they aren't really particularly yellow. They're more like a cream color, but I think they're even more tasty than the red ones. So this is a great time to get your strawberries still into the ground. Like I said, you might not get a huge crop of strawberries at this point, but you can still plant them absolutely fine. They do really great too. So just make sure that you're going through your garden daily, you're checking it, you're making sure that there's nothing really major going on, you're keeping things tied up, you're pruning things down so they don't get too big and out of control. And then that way you can have a really successful garden. You can still put things into the ground right now. As we get a little bit later in the season, you can even do the cooler season tomatoes in the ground as well. But this is a great time for gardening. This is a really great time for harvesting. You should have a lot of action if you planned early in your garden right now. If you didn't, don't worry, you can still put things in the ground right now as well. It's still a perfect time to plant your tomatoes and your peppers. It's a really important time to start maintaining all of your plants, making sure that you're tying things up so things aren't getting too big and out of control and breaking. So it's a great time to get into the garden and really pay attention to your vegetables. Thank you so much for watching. My name again is Sarah Smith. I'm a horticulturalist here at Rogers Gardens. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube page. There's tons of great content there. We're always producing more content. There's a lot of great history, so you can look back through all the different videos that we've done over time. And if you haven't yet, sign up for our email list. That will keep you in the know of all the great things that we have going on here at Rogers Gardens. Thanks so much. Be well, be safe, and happy gardening, everybody. Bye.